Is Mike Norvell gaining momentum to come off of the hot seat?
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers who bet $5 and win that first bet can gain $300 in bonus bets to use across the FanDuel app. Just download it today. We're going to be talking about several different things today that are kind of fun. One, we're going to do the mailbag. We have had a blast with that. I didn't even put it up on the sidebar for those of you that are on YouTube because it's just fun and everybody seems to enjoy it. I've got some pretty interesting comments and questions regarding recruiting and everything else that goes on. That'll be a little bit later on in the show. Speaking of recruiting, Florida State's been red hot, and it's one of the reasons that I wanted to do this because what is the basis of it? Why are Florida State's recruiting efforts all of a sudden shooting up so much? And that leads into the point that I want to say right off the bat. I have a strong inclination, no intel, just my own inclination, that Florida State is at least considering pivoting away from getting rid of Norvell and instead using their resources, much like Florida did last year, to spend on recruiting instead of using that money for a buyout for the head coach. Am I wrong? Very possibly. And to be honest, I hope I'm dead wrong. But just hear me out here. They've gained 3 commitments in about 48 hours. They've gained commitments despite the fact that everybody seems to think Norvell's on the hot seat. They've gained commitments despite the fact that some of these kids were local. Some of these kids knew about Florida State for a long time. And they commit now when Florida State, they got to win against Wake, but that's not that impressive. Why is it that Florida State is all of a sudden just rolling in recruiting for the most part? What's the deal? I don't know for sure, but I think it's pretty interesting. I do want to note that this is still a fluid situation. Tadarius Hughes, who I thought might flip for a long time, he picked Syracuse today. He was arguably Florida State's best recruit. He's certainly one of the top 5 or so. He flipped from the Noles to Syracuse. That hurts. Like, this is becoming a trend. I've said it before, Fran Brown is a problem for all the schools in the state of Florida, FSU included. One of the best safeties in the country. He's from Miami Northwestern. He has flipped his commitment from FSU to Syracuse. So that is the other side of this. So maybe my theory is not right. But at the same time, again, do we know for sure that Florida State wants to go through with this with all of the following still in play? Auburn just came open. LSU just came open. Florida's been open. Penn State's been open. Virginia Tech is, etc. So not just head coaches, you've got to hire an assistant staff, etc. There's a lot of fluidity if you make a coaching change, especially after Michael Alford, the AD for FSU, said, we want to make a full-scale evaluation, meaning end of the season, and then go with it. End of the season, by the way, the last game against the Gators is 4 days before National Signing Day. So you could pretty much kiss that recruiting class into smoke because anything is possible those last few days. You're going to lose some kids if you do that. But right now they're on the verge of getting to 30 commitments. It is a weird conundrum because you like seeing the talent come in, but are they going to sacrifice the coaching situation because they don't want to spend it and they're just going to dump cash into recruiting? It's not a terrible thing, but there's no way around it. Florida State is not going to be where they need to be with Norvell as the head coach, in my opinion. Anybody that has a different opinion, jump right into the chat and fire away. But that's my thought. So with that being stated, actually I've got a few people already in the chat. Go ahead and comment whatever you want to talk about. But it's going to be a really interesting next month. Remember the idiot saying that we didn't jump on Deion? Well, 2 things on that, Willie. Number 1, good Lord, have they fallen off? Number 2, Deion's got health problems right now, even if they were winning. That's, I hope Deion Sanders gets it taken care of, but he's got blood clots and different things that have come and gone. I don't know where he sits with that, but he thought they'd come back as of a few weeks ago when he was talking about his health situation, unsolicited, mind you, at his own press conference for University of Colorado, saying his leg was hurting real bad. He knew the blood clots were back. And I'm like, whoa, nobody's going to take him anyway. And now they're losing on top of it in real bad. They look terrible this weekend. X-Man, Mike needs to go like yesterday. No arguments at all. I think that there's a pretty good chance that most of the folks that are, shall we say, interested in Florida State winning would agree with you. But what's your take, though, X-Man? Do you think Florida State is at least considering dumping cash into the recruiting, kind of like the Gators did last year? That way it's a little cheaper. You improve your roster and give that coach another year. Am I off base with that idea? I really don't think I am, because I don't think this is a one-off situation for the Gators. If Florida State did it, it wouldn't be surprising. If several other schools did it, it wouldn't be surprising either. Arkansas kind of went that way last year. Sam Pittman. There have been several other circumstances. This is not a newsflash. I could see a lot of different schools kind of going this route, at least for a year, because you've got to have big money coming in one big pile to make it work. Because the bottom end number, like bottom, if they were to flip from Norvell and this staff, and several would probably turn over, and you bring in another staff, at least, all but like 2 assistants, $100 million would be the low end number. The low end number. That's how expensive it is. So I think that's a possibility. Andre Bucks, I think Alford is about to jump ship and leave us in a mess like Wilcox. Well, I'm glad you brought this up. This is a very important topic. If you take nothing else from this show, this might be the best. If Norvell was canned, would you trust Michael Alford to even be involved in the decision, let alone being the guy that is steering the ship? Correct me if I'm wrong here in the chat, but Mr. Alford, while I'm sure he's a good man, likes Norvell and would like to see him succeed to a point. I'm not sure there isn't some bias there. And again, it's his job to balance the budget. There's no way to balance the budget and Florida State win right now. There's none. And that's being kind. Being in the red by a million miles is about where it's at, because they just did the stadium renovation and they're trying to get out of the Atlantic Coast Conference. It is what it is. So Alford's biggest job is getting donors to say yes, to be honest. As gross as that is, wouldn't want to be that guy that tried to do that, but it's where it's at. Jimmy Swope, I don't want to lose the recruiting class by firing Mike. If it wasn't for an ESPN snub, he's a national champion. It's fair to have that opinion without thinking I'm smoking something. Well, I don't think there's a chance in the world they were going to win the title once a certain quarterback got hurt. So I do think you're smoking something. But even if he had been the quarterback, I don't think they'd have won it, but they would have deserved to have been in. In the end of the day, though, I think that kind of broke Mike. I can't remember who posted it. Maybe it was on X. Somebody posted the video when they announced the 2023 playoff rankings or whatever. The look on his face, the exasperated, just exhale, complete disbelief, he'd seen a ghost. I don't know if he's been the same since. It's a debatable talk, but everybody has their own opinion, but it is interesting. Jeff Colts, Brian, are you going to have a breakdown on the Clemson game? Well, I did a little bit today in regards to what's going on with Clemson, but I'm going to go into it a little more. Statistically, I did some on the Tuesday show, but I need to break down some more stats and get into it and talk a little more matchups. The key here, though, just know the following players. Running back's not normal for them right now. What is it? Randall, the receiver they moved to running back, it's not very good. But Antonio Williams, that guy's a great SWAT. He had 10 catches in the last game. Nobody has a SWAT guy to play over somebody like Antonio, because there's no such thing as a pure SWAT, corner, safety, whatever, because every play it's somebody different. But this is a traditional SWAT that's 5'10", 5'11", 180 some pounds, really twitchy, but he's a good route runner. A lot of these guys that are slots aren't route runners. Got to watch him. And number 2, TJ. He's the outside receiver. He's a Tampa kid. I know him. He can really run. He's over 6'2", not quite 6'3", but he's over 6'2". He's 205 pounds. That's a matchup. So you got 2 guys on the outside that are NFL players. And Wesco, their best receiver, arguably, he's hurt. So they're going to score. Can you get a couple of big plays? I said it in the breakdown for Tuesday, and I'll say it again now. The key to the game to make sure those 2 receivers, TJ doesn't get the ball, TJ Moore, and then the other guy, again, Antonio Williams, you have to keep Klubnik in the pocket, pressure him, make him feel uncomfortable. Don't give him escape lanes. Even though he's a senior, he is not, repeat, not a patient player. He will throw it into coverage. Now, what's my pet peeve? I got 2 of them. Don't drop interceptions. Don't hit the quarterback along the sidelines. They're going to throw the flag. When that play happens, especially in Death Valley, where you have a freebie, you must pick it off. It's going to be a close game. Must pick it off. And I'll go into it more. I haven't really dug into Clemson's defense yet, but my God, they were obliterated by Duke. And I know they got Mintz's an NFL quarterback, 100%. I know it's hard to believe at Duke, but he is flat out an NFL quarterback. But it was just like Swiss cheese. They have no running game, none. And they still gave up 46. That is pathetic. I have no idea what's going on with Clemson's secondary, but it is bad. Jimmy Swope, I agree with you there. He has not been the same since the snub. I get it. Like, I'm not a Norvell guy. I think everybody knows that, but like, that's hard to take. And I get it. You know what? You pour your heart and soul into it. You have a great season. Your quarterback gets hurt, and then you don't get it. I get it. Like, I understand why the committee did it, but if you're Norvell, you're not going to accept that very well. Your players didn't. As soon as it came on, guys are walking out of the room. Like, in a lot of ways, that the program blew up once that was announced. So, but at the same time, Norvell didn't plan for the long term afterwards. He had recruited high school as well, and it still would have been bad even if they made the playoff because the roster was so senior dominated with all those transfers, and that's why we're in the spot we're in now. Rhinos, Knowles basketball looking good. I haven't had a chance to even look with all the junk that's going on with the coaching stuff. I haven't even watched Florida State's basketball team yet. That's sad. I mean, I've seen some highlights, but I haven't seen it, and I need to because I can't wait to get into basketball. For the record, I will cover it this year, but like this month is rough for me. Next month will be a little bit easier. After signing day, which is December 3rd, I'll actually be at a basketball game a few days after that. It'll be basketball and portal then. Season will be over. It'll be much easier for me to cover a little bit of everything. I'm kind of looking forward to it. What did you think of FSU, despite saying good? Like, can they play defense is my question. Usually first-year coaches, they can get some players, but the best defensive guys are usually in the top 10 teams. That's what separates the top from the middle of the pack. Florida State will beat Clemson, says Champs 998. Okay. Why do you say that? By the way, I'm picking Florida State right now until I get into it deeper. Right now, I'm leaning Florida State because Clemson's defense is so bad, it's embarrassing. Like, it is horrific. I have no idea why, because they don't have 1, not 2, but 3, flat out. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. NFL players in their front 7. 3. And they still are getting killed. Mind-blowing. Fashawn, what's up, man? What's good, Brian? I get Mike is not it. I think he stays if he runs the table or just one loss. Okay, let's bring up what Fashawn's talking about here. And this is the schedule remaining. After this, I'll go to a quick break and we'll be back for the duration of the show. If Florida State only loses 1, it would be to one of these 4 teams. They got Clemson, obviously, this weekend in Death Valley. Then they have their last home game against Virginia Tech. That is a sleeper game. Do not discount them. I don't know who that interim coach is, but he's got them playing hard. They're not great, but they're physical. If you screw around, which Florida State certainly did against a team by the name of Stanford, it can happen. Then the last 2 games are kind of goofy. You have NC State on a Friday night in Raleigh. That place, There won't be 5 sober people in the stands. It'll be bananas. Friday night game, etc. Who knows? Their defense stinks, but they can flat out score. They got 3 or 4 skill position guys that will play in the NFL. And that running back is big time. And then on top of that, of course, you've got the rivalry game with the Gators down in Gainesville on November 29th. Who knows how many of the Florida players with what's going on are going to be bought into that game. And the same with Florida State. I have no idea how that game is going to go. If either one of those teams won by 20, you could convince me of it right now because we don't know who's going to be bought in and who is not. That sucks, but welcome to college football in 2025. I'll come back into the chat here in a second. I'm going to do one quick break, and then we will be back with more Locked On Seminoles. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, we need to be talking about the NBA because it is back, and there's no better place to get on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride out the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, when you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay, why not? For a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when you get that first $5 bet victory. Head to FanDuel.com, sign up, and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Once again, thank you very much for checking out Locked On Seminoles. Appreciate you stopping in. If you have not already, hit that like, hit that subscribe, become an everydayer right here on Locked On Seminoles. Coaching news, recruiting news, transfer portal, anything that's going on with not just Florida State, the Atlantic Coast Conference, getting out of this league, hopefully sooner than later. And that's just kind of what's going on with college football and all the head coaching stuff. I love digging into that. I have more texts and comments back and forth with friends and colleagues around college football about that than anything else right now. And I'm a recruiting guy. That shows you how much I'm into it. But with that stated, time to get back into the chat a little bit. Let's see here. I don't know where exactly I was in this, but let's see. Is it this one? Okay, that was Vashon. Now let's see. Yeah, this is a good one. Rhinos, I kind of think you're right on this one, man. At least some of them. Rhino says, Clemson, their defense quit on the team. Again, I went and looked at the stats a little bit ago. Duke had 78 rushing yards. Now, if you'd have said that and not known the score, obviously the final was 46-45. If you said Clemson holds them to 78 rushing yards, I'd have said they won by 2 scores, 34-20. They gave up 46. How do you hold a team to 78, which is phenomenal, and lose? That is garbage, especially when your offense was clicking. Klubnik went off. He was 27 to 36. He had 75%. And he got an L. I think that there needs to be, I'm not in tune with what's going on in Clemson's locker room here, but are they going to have a team meeting? Like a players only? Because I agree with Rhinos. How on God's green earth, with all the talent that they have, is Clemson giving up 46 to Duke in Death Valley? Again, this is why right now, as I do this live show on a Tuesday night, believe it or not, I'm leaning Florida State straight up in that game. At least their defense is playing hard. Can we say that about Clemson? No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Marcus Bagley, we can't fire Mike now. Too late. What do you mean too late? Too late for what? I think it's too late is like it should have been done already, but let's get it done. That's what I say. Loading 7710, we need to fire Mike as soon as possible. That's what I agree with. To that end, let me jump back into some of the comments that I have on why I think Florida State might not be totally leaning into it. If you're the AD, and I'm not picking on Alford here, I wouldn't blame him for this. You want clear cut, no doubt about it. Here's how much funds that I have to get rid of staff and to hire staff. Period. That's how business works. ADs are basically lawyers or business managers in sports, or a combination thereof. There is no way on God's green earth that he's not concerned about all the other things they have stacked up with bills. The renovations were 200 some odd. I forget what the total was. Somebody can correct me in the chat, but 220, something like that. And by the way, Doak Campbell is incredible. I'm thinking about going down to the not Wake Forest. They just played them, the Virginia Tech game, just to go in early, do some photos and kind of check out some stuff around the stadium and all that. I may or may not stay for the game, but that renovation, like I haven't been down this year. I'd really like to see it since it's done. I've been there right before the season. I'd like to see it, but with all those things, do they have 60 plus million just for the two coordinators and Mike? That doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. It probably shouldn't make Florida State fans feel warm and fuzzy. And as sad as it is par for the course. Once you have a great season like FSU did in 2023, you give the coach an extension. It's just what happens. Everybody does it. Florida State got absolutely thrown to the ground, the rug pulled out from underneath them, however you want to say it with that deal, but it is what it is. So even if he wins out, I would get rid of it because the goal at Florida State is onefold. National champion. Do you think that Norvell can recruit from the high school level in a manner that gets the Noles to that capacity? And I'm not picking on the 23 roster construction. They hit. Like, they hit. But there's still the exceptions to the rule in all sports. Florida State was that exception that year. Do I think that's going to happen again? Probably not. There's too many signs that he doesn't understand roster management from the high school level to make me feel that he's the long-term answer for Florida State, not just to have one-offs, but to be consistently a top 10 team at minimum. With the right steward of this program, you can be. It's been proven multiple times. It's not hard to recruit to Florida State if you have somebody that's passionate about the institution and also passionate about high school recruiting and being directly involved with it. That is not Norvell's bag. He's a solid recruiter and he's putting in more effort now, but that's not who he is, or he would have done it already. That's just my take. Let's see here. Champs 998, boosters are not paying $58 million to Norvell not to coach. You could be right. And that's why I did this show tonight. Straight up, what Champs is talking about right here. It is. I think there's a pretty strong chance. Again, they got not one, not two, but three commitments here. Just boom, boom, boom. Maybe they're just saying, screw it. Let's get as much talent as we can. If it works out next year with Norvell, great. But otherwise, at least the next guy's going to have some talent. Prove me wrong. Garrett, what's going on, man? I think the staff will fill in the holes. We're okay right now, but it's not signing day yet. To be clear, you know what? What do I have here? Florida State. Let me just kind of go over a few of my comments on this call. I'm glad Garrett brought this up, to be honest. Thank you for that, by the way. They got 27 commits. Chauncey Kennan is as good a corner as there is in the country. He's out of Booker. He'll come in and play. Like, even though Florida State hasn't been great on D this year, they keep getting defensive players. Chauncey Kennan, possible NFL player. Ernest Rankins, like Kennan's a really long and athletic corner. Ernest Rankins, big 6'5", 6'6" kid out of the greater Atlanta area. Love his upside. Tremendous talent. Devin Carter, dad was Dexter Carter. Burner at wide receiver. Absolutely a playmaker. Love his upside. Xavier Tiller, another Atlanta area guy. Freaky athlete that we've all known about since he was a freshman in high school. He's at Langston Hughes, just on the south edge of Atlanta. Flex tight end. He's the kind of guy that is going to match up nightmare. Isaiah Williams, freaky kid that I've known for quite a while. He's from the greater Tampa area, Orlando area. Tavares, just north. Really good kid. He can play. If they can hold on to, I don't know if I've talked about this much on Locked On Seminoles, if they can hold on to Jay Timmons, his dad was Lawrence Timmons, played for the Noles, played for the Steelers for like 8-9 years. Ohio State's making a charge at him. Who knows? If they lose him, that's a blow. But he's a corner. He lives in the greater Pittsburgh area where his dad played. He's a stud. Brandon Bennett, 10'4", 100-meter kid, wide receiver out of American Heritage. He can absolutely play. Ephraim White, one of the kids we all knew about in the recruiting services for a while, plays at Vero Beach. He got offers early. He could fly. He could play corner. He could play free safety. He's all kinds of things. Probably a receiver at FSU, but we'll see. Jaden O'Neal, Mustang, Oklahoma. He's a kid that's a big pocket passer who can also move, run some RPO. He gives you a chance no matter what kind of offensive scheme that you run. Jonah Winston is Jameis Winston's brother, or I think it's his brother. 5'9", 155 pounds. He can really run. He's a kid out of Hoover, one of the better programs in the state of Alabama. Jason Lopez, Shaman Madonna, receiver. He's a slot guy. Athletic as all get out. Go to hoop and play football for the Noles. He just set some records in receiving. That's a guy that absolutely has a chance to play early. He's got the ability and the moxie to handle the jump from high school to college. Watch out for Lopez to make some moves for FSU next year. Tico Crittenden, defensive tackle out of Lithonia, Georgia. Another Atlanta area kid, 6'4", 300. Sean Johnson, the one kid they've got out of DC, a safety, could possibly play corner. He's our Archbishop Spalding. Really like him. He's an underrated kid. Deron Parks, he's moved back to West Virginia, but he did play down in Sarasota. Massive kid, probably play inside. And if he gets the ability to lose the weight, he takes it seriously, he could play tackle as well. Great feet and really nice kid. Darrell Bell, one of the best safeties in Florida at a Barbara Goldman just outside of Miami. Florida State got him early, and he's a heck of a player. Corbin Fordham, his dad was an offensive lineman for the Noles, so he's a legacy. He's from the Bowl School, flex tight end, really good. Whitley Cadeau, he's a kid from Booker T, Washington, in Atlanta. He's a little bit underrated. I'm surprised Florida State was able to get him. Another Atlanta area kid. Jacoby Green, offensive lineman from just outside of Tallahassee, 6'3", 330 pounds. He's an earth mover. He'll be an interior offensive lineman. Love that they're keeping some of these closer to home kids right there. Speaking in Gadsden County, his teammate, who just committed to the Noles, Dalen Green, listed as an athlete on 24/7, but I think he will be that overhang safety / nickel / slot, and occasionally, depending on down and distance, nickel and dime. He could play will linebacker, and if he gains enough weight, he'll end up at will linebacker. Darion Williams, this is a kid out of Plant. He could really run. Tampa Plant's had some really good program players for a long time, but this is a kid that's a special athlete. He can play corner or do whatever you want. Chris Carbon, this is a really important recruit. He's a kid they just got another kid out of Atlanta. Shocking. Edge rusher, he could be that weak side end in a 4-3 or the stand-up guy that they call a jack in the defense currently being used at Florida State. They needed that. They need another one, to be honest. But there's a really good need for those kinds of guys at every school. Everybody wants pass rushers. So we'll see what Florida State does. Franklin Whitley is the guy they got today, 6'6", 265. I haven't even had a chance to look at his film yet. I'll probably talk about him a little bit more in the next day or so. But 6'6", 265 out of Greenville, South Carolina. Clemson wanted him. That's all I needed to know. This is a good class. Florida State has potential with it. Is it where I want it to be? Excuse me. In terms of totality? No, but it's still pretty good. It's not like it's chopped liver. So I think Florida State's in a pretty good spot considering the season they've had and Norvell's situation. Just wanted to say that. Let's see here what we got. Jay Corner. Mike recruits like he's still in Memphis. He looks for the diamond in the rough players. I think there's some truth to that, but I just don't think recruiting is natural to him. He tries, but for some reason they're not getting some of those kids. Even after the 23 season, they didn't get a lot of those kids. You know what I mean? I just don't think he's a great recruiter. Champs 998, most of the teams that fired their coach will be even worse after the new coaching hires. It's quite possible. You're not wrong. William McMillan, so glad Miami is not going to the playoffs. Thank you, Mario. He is a terrible November coach. I want to say in his tenure at Miami, he's 4-11 in November. It's terrible. It really is. William McMillan, do you think Jason Lopez sticks with the class? As long as he wants to play hoops, his best option is Florida State. And I'm pretty sure he does. He can ball, too. He's a good hooper. Let's see. The defensive end that we got yesterday is going to be a player. I mean, I don't know which one for sure you're talking about. I like Carbon quite a bit. He's the kid out of Hillgrove. It's one of those tradition-rich programs in the Georgia, like greater metroplex of Atlanta. Like, you don't have off weeks there. You know, I was watching the film. I'm like, this is what it's supposed to look like physically. He's a little raw, but It's pretty important. I think they are cousins. Okay, if that's Winston, I thought it was his brother, but if it's cousins, whatever, it's obviously Winston's family. Regardless, I think Florida State's class is better than what people are giving them credit for, but they don't have that one just bona fide dominant guy on the offensive line. That's the one thing that I would really like. Aaron Thomas is back on the market. Want to throw that out there. That's very important. I think that we need to get into that a little bit. He's a guy from Arizona. We'll talk about that over the next few days. He decommitted from Ohio State. How do you feel about our D-line class? Honestly, I like it because it fits what they're trying to do. It's got a lot of size. And now that you got the Carbon kid, you finally have a pass rusher. This is type of, like, if you're going to recruit at Florida State, they got, 6 guys? They have a lot of junior seniors and fifth-year seniors. They needed this kind of class. Is it perfect? No. But like Rankin could call LSU, Ohio State, whatever, and go. And they got a few guys that got the size and the physical nature, like Carbon. There were 3 stars that I think are a little underrated. I'm happy with the D-line class. Let's see. Jared Williams says, Aaron Thomas is coming home. He could be. He could be. I'm going to read off a few of my mailbag comments. These are just stuff off YouTube. It's kind of fun. A little bit of variety here. All right. Ron Starr, 45 on God. I like number 40, Amari Williams. He has the physical tools to be our next Jared Verse. That young king is about to go sack quarterback 1, All-American, before he leaves Florida State. Real quick. I've talked about Amari a couple of times, actually, in the last week. He might be the most important underclassman on the roster, even more than Mackay, because there just aren't enough guys that fit that outside linebacker spot in terms of a length, athleticism, and mentality standpoint. You can't have just 2 or 3. You got to have all of them. The long arms, the ability to bend, the ability to just burst off that edge and want it. Like Amari wants it. That matters. He's a really good talent. Hopefully he takes that next step because of, like, he's focusing on defense. And next spring we'll see that. Probably won't know until then, though, when you can get a little more information out of the staff. Floyd says Mike is staying and he and the staff are still recruiting hard. I don't know if that's good, Mike, but or Floyd, but whatever, buddy. I mean, I hope you're wrong. Jay Smith says we need some dogs, and a fire-up question to that is Matex. Mike Norvell and his current AD can't get those anymore. Talking about dogs. For those that don't know, that just means guys that really want it. I think Florida State can, and they have some in this recruiting class too. Like Jason Lopez, for instance, is a great example. FJB3544 says, I just don't see the defense stopping Clemson. Middle of the field is always open. Now, this is an interesting comment about the Clemson game. Florida State's linebackers stink in coverage until otherwise proven. They're not bad. They stink. So here's my question. Do you blitz Clemson? Because if you're not getting home and they're not covering that well anyway, do you mix it up, fire zone? How do you do it? Personally, I think I would make Klubnik just see different pressures. Fire zone would be part of it, and just try to contain him. I would be more concerned about the edges than I would up the middle. You've got Darryl there. I mean, good luck blocking him anyway. He gets doubled a lot, and he had a sack in the last game. But if you can keep Klubnik in the pocket by blitzing him, nickel blitz, doing some different things with dropping a rat in the hole, meaning one of your safeties comes down and robs the middle, you could get some turnovers. I'm predicting 2 turnovers on Clemson's offense. We'll see if I'm right. Christopher Roberts. Here y'all go with keeping Mike comments. Norvell has to go. Oh, wow. We beat you all bums. Next week on L is Coming. Fire Norvell. Look, I'm on the Fire Norvell train too. I get it, man. But like I just said tonight, are we sure that they got the money for this? Like right now, I'm not so sure. I think the money might be shifting towards recruiting. Hope I am wrong. Jason, more Randy Pittman equals more victories. I like the simplicity of the statement, and I also believe with its validity. Raise your hand if you'd like to see Pittman get at least 3 receptions a game. This guy right here would be one. If you want to run him off tackle every now and then. Remember, Randy's only about 6'1" to 6'2". Go right ahead. If you want to use him as a lead blocker in the backfield on a sweep, GT or something like that with Uzma Croma or Rodell, I don't care who it is. Sam Singleton, Cam Dave, I don't care. He's just a good football player. I'd like to see him more involved in the offense than he already is. Finally, what did you think about Tommy Castellano sticking up for Norvell? I think it's good. For those of you that don't know, Tommy went out of his way, like, I'm trying to save jobs, etc. Okay, great. But what else is Tommy going to say, I guess? I like Tommy. I know Tommy's a good dude. He came to Florida State. He wants to be successful. The season has not gone the way he wants. But it just is what it is, man. It just is what it is. He spoke up and saying he's trying to save jobs. I'm okay with it. I don't have a problem. Antoine Jackson. What about the quarterback from Mustang, Oklahoma? Could he be good? I've seen Jaden throw. He's got a big arm, great kid, comes from a good family. Yeah, he could be. With quarterbacks, it's pretty simple. You're going to have to wait until they get on campus, they fit in, and it's a real simple question with an insanely complicated answer. Even the NFL can't figure this out. Yes or no, will he understand post-snap reads at the college level with the speed of the game at the college level? I have no idea. And no, nor does anybody else. It's not about arm strength. It's not about height. It's not about all those things. It's processing at the college level. He's got the physical tools. I got a chance to meet him at Rivals 5-star. He's got some talent. Jared Williams. Crazy we go from Mike's got to go to getting 3+ commits plus Thomas is going to jump in. Crazy. Isn't it? Like, you can kind of say, like, maybe Thomas goes somewhere else. I don't know, but I think he is. Look, I wouldn't be disappointed. That's a big, mean dude. I think he could be your starting right tackle at minimum. We'll see. Jared Williams. That Wake quarterback missed a ton of open throws. Their quarterback situation is janky at best. It's Wake Forest is Wake Forest. Jared Williams. Jenkins cannot set the edge. Yeah, I've been disappointed with Jenkins. Garrett, I say use the buyout money on recruiting. Let the staff get their guys. 1-year turnarounds are possible, but extremely rare. FSU would be the 7th best available job if we fire Mike. Who are the 6 ahead? Penn State, Florida, LSU, Auburn. I could see those. Who are the ones you got besides that? Like, I think Florida State's a better job than Auburn. I live in Auburn. Like, that job is crazy because your 2 biggest rivals, you ready for this? Georgia and Alabama. Good luck. You play them every year. Good luck. I'll take the Florida State job. It's an easier gig, but that's just me. Let's see here. Rock and Knoll. I think the fans have Norvell on the hot seat and Alford is focused on other team items before Mike. Jeremy's usually not wrong about that kind of stuff. Let's see. Jared Williams. Seeing Singleton on the field more was awesome. I think he's a pretty good player. Jared Williams. Brian is not a Norvell fan. No, I think he should be fired. That's exactly what I think about Norvell. Michael Ratliff. Devil's advocate. What if the OC and DC needed time to find their respective playmakers and it could potentially lead to a run strong off season? Playmakers are just like, look at offense. Florida State is loaded. Loaded. Name somebody faster than Mekhi Dancy. Name somebody that's tearing it up more than Deuce. He was just ACC Player of the Week. You got multiple tight ends that will play on Sundays. You got an experienced offensive line. All are seniors or 5th-year guys. You got a senior quarterback. You've got a dearth of talent at running back. And there's still games where they don't play well. Like they had 13 points against Stanford. Stanford. It's unbelievable. Rock and roll. Everyone smash that like button for Brian. Amen to that. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Appreciate that, brother. Thanks for the reads, Brian. You are the man, even though you don't like Mike. Yeah, I think he stinks. Novotel, where are the leading rushers? This is a great question. Who's going to lead the Noles in rushing this week? Well, there's another part to that question. Who's going to play for running back positions at Florida State for this next week, the week after? It changes every week. It's bizarre. There were games where we kept hearing, oh, Rodell's going to play this. He has, they have lied so much about the depth chart in the injury report. It's garbage. Anybody out there betting on Florida State, I'd advise you stop, because there's not going to be any accurate depth chart information. Zero from Florida State's Mike Norvell. He is horrible. So who knows, man? But they always seem to find somebody to do pretty well. Sawchuck would be, that's what Williams said. Yeah, if I had to guess, but are we sure it's not Singleton? Are we sure? I mean, with this offense, this is kind of funky. It's not out of the question. And in a cool way, if Danzy takes 180 yards on a reverse and leads him in rushing on one carry, he is a freak, an absolute freak. Jared Williams, do you like the D-line we got today? I haven't watched him yet. I haven't had a chance. I'm going to try to do that tomorrow morning and either have a show midday to late afternoon on Wednesday or go ahead and just have something for Thursday. I need to get a full couple hours to watch film comparing to some guys. And right now, time is really limited. C. Brown, RIP3. Who's the best player in this upcoming recruiting class? And what currently available coach can bring a chip to FSU? There's a lot of coaches that could. I just don't think Florida State's going to get an A-plus guy. As far as the best player in this class, man, that's hard. Rankins, I think, long-term, but linemen don't hit immediately. One of the skill guys, Isaiah Williams, possibly. I don't know for sure. They've got 4 or 5 guys that are defensive linemen that long-term are good, but out of that group, I don't know. And they got all those, like Ephraim White could be a stud. It's really hard to say. They got a lot of speed in this class, though. Bennett's a 10-4 kid. Really good group. Garrett, for the record, I'm not Mike's biggest fan. I have my worries, but this is a year one staff. True. If we can afford it and next season won't be a disaster, then I would be okay with it. Okay. I get you. Fine Flacco. Who's the ideal replacement for Mike? Ideal? I don't know. I don't think there is an ideal candidate right now. I don't. Because there's nobody with direct ties to Florida State and all of the other points that I'm about to say in conjunction with it. Elite recruiter. Not good. Elite. Head coaching experience at P4. Has coached and or recruited in Florida consistently within the last 5 years, preferably the last 2. Something like that. Like those would be some mainstays, and also a proven track record of hiring coordinators. There just isn't. I don't think there is an ideal replacement. Golish and like Sumrall and a lot of other guys are possibilities, but they all have risks. Personally, I would hire Buster Faulkner, the OC at Georgia Tech, if I didn't go the head coaching route. But that's a big risk because he doesn't have any head coaching experience. But he's got a couple of national championship rings at Georgia. He knows what it looks like, and he's helped rebuild a Georgia Tech program that stunk. That would be my guess. Techmatax, 16 3 stars. Nopatal, I hope Dabo is whining after the game. He whines after the game if they win or lose. Gerard Williams, Tiller? Please, God, no. Gerard Williams, I like Cadeau. I do too. Whitley Cadeau's got a lot of upside. He's got a lot of upside. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you once again for everybody that has stopped in. I truly appreciate it. It's always fun to do the live chats and just kind of let everybody throw out their opinions, get their ideas out there. I still think there's a chance that Florida State's going to dump their cash into recruiting. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. If anybody hears anything, obviously hit me up at FBScout_Florida. I have an open inbox on X. Feel free. But this is going to be really wild next month. We're about a month from signing day, the end of the season, all that stuff. It's going to be buck wild. Is Florida State going to make a move? We're still trying to figure it out. Thank you once again for checking out Locked On Seminoles. We will see you again tomorrow.